So once again, welcome everyone. Just a minute, I'm gonna change my view. Welcome everyone to the Matri Satsang of Sri Anandamayi Ma, in the presence of her chapel, her paduka that she wore on her own feet, and many other wonderful things here. So our intention is to tune in to study her life and experience the presence of Anandamayi Ma, who is a very unique phenomena in the history of the world. We can say there's a whole progression to tuning into Anandamayi Ma. Probably keep watching for the little blue admit signs. There you go. There's a whole progression to tuning into Anandamayi Ma. Of course, everyone is specific and everyone is personal, but like I say, generally, at first, there's Ma touches your heart. As I never tire of saying, Ma so many times said that we cannot even think of her unless she first thinks of us. So she has thought of us and given us her grace to be interested in her. And so then this satsang is our response to her grace. We want to study her life more, study her teachings more, study what she asks of us to do to realize her. So in this progression of invoking Ma and understanding her and calling on her, like I say, at first it can be even a curiosity. She's a unique, amazing person, very beautiful in her youth. And so people are attracted in different ways. And then the more we tune into her, the more we find we can feel her presence. And as we feel her presence, so many things happen. And we begin to experience her in so many inner ways. And we begin to realize that by just remembering her, we're brought out of our small personalities. She is not only just an historical character, she's not only just a teacher, she is the embodiment, the incarnation of that perfect universal consciousness. So we can be in the day, in our work day, and our mind will be just going in that small circle of little thoughts, what am I doing? What am I thinking? Blah, blah, blah. And then we stop for a moment and remember Ma. And we experiencing her as that, we experience ourselves being taken out of ourselves to a wider vision. And Ma is that wider vision. She is that universal consciousness, and she is the deep indweller of the heart. So just by remembering her, we wake up to our own higher consciousness. And that's really important because she's a gateway to our own true self, not just an historical character by any means. So today we want to think of her, think about her life, think about her teachings. We'll have many readings of her words and things that people say about her. But as we always say also, we started this satsang with the idea also not only of learning of Ma, but also having community among ourselves, of getting to know each other and of welcoming any new person who wants to come and learn of Ma with us. And so we originally had just an in-person group locally in the San Francisco Bay Area. And then with COVID, we started going to Zoom. Now people from all over the world are coming. So even though we're an online community right now, with plans which we'll talk about at the end again to meet in person in the fall, but we are a community, and we come, and so we want to have people understand that, to appreciate that, to experience that we are here for each other. We are here to support each other in Ma's teachings and way of life, and share things. The satsang. Satsang means company with truth. So it means having company with Ma, but also having company with each other, sharing our experiences, asking questions, learning from each other. So we will have a time at the end of this period where we'll have open mic, so to speak, where we can share and talk and ask questions and things. So to begin with, those of you who are here for the first time, we are recording this. I have to make that disclaimer. We are recording this, and we do share it to our YouTube channel, which is called Sri Anandamayi Ma Satsang West. And people, so devotees can also experience these things who weren't able to be here with us at the moment. So you will be recorded if you participate, but also we ask you to participate fully and take advantage of this sometime. So for those of you who have not come before, my name is Mangalananda, and I received an initiation from Anandamayi Ma in 1973 in her Vrindavan ashram, and traveled with her in 73, 74, and have been living in her lineage ever since, in many of her ashrams in America and India. I lived 12 years in India in one of her ashrams, and I'm an appointed acharya of two of those ashrams of Ma, which simply means a person who shares Ma's teachings and as an older brother and just helps people to come to Ma's teachings. And this is my wife, Gloria.
Srimati Mangalananda.
Yes, the Srimati Mangalananda.
Welcome. It's great to be here.
And I want to introduce my co-host, Pragya Halstrom, and she will call on everyone. She'll explain how she'll do it, so we get to see everyone. So we ask everyone to turn on your video so we can see your face, and you simply unmute, which is on the bottom left hand of your screen, just at the time when we introduce you, to unmute and say hello. So Pragya is in charge of our satsang group in Boston area, and she is the host of our Sri Anandamayi Ma Ashram, the president of our board there, board of directors, which I'm also on, and does many satsangs herself. And she's the author of the wonderful book, which has become a classic in Ma's literature, Mother of Bliss, published by Harvard, I think. And she also is the editor of two books, which I'm sure we'll read from today, of the Gospel of Sri Anandamayi Ma. So, Pragya, will you say hello?
Jai Ma, so good to see you all. I'm here in Amherst, Massachusetts, where we have the temple of Sri Ma in our home, which is just an incredible blessing. And we hope all of you will come visit us someday soon. Yeah, it's just wonderful to be here. I'm going to be popping back and forth a bit because I don't have a mouse here, so I want to sit here when I'm singing and talking, and also to be able to let everyone in who comes in late. So forgive me if I am here and not here. Jai Ma. So now, shall I call on everyone else? Mangalananda?
Yeah, we're I guess due to Father's Day or whatever, Katya, who sings with us, is not here from Portugal, and Renu, our usual tech host, is at some kind of retreat. And Saraswati, who's on our board, also was not able to be here. So we're kind of on a skeleton crew today. So Pragya is my honored co-host and worker, but she's also going to be the tech host. So what she will do is she will call on you one at a time. And when she calls on you, just unmute and say, at this point, just say hello and where you're from. And because later we'll have more time to talk, because you want to get everyone introduced first. Okay, Pragya?
Jai Ma. So, Yogi Lani, can we start with you?
Jai Ma.
Jai Ma.
Hi. I'm Lonnie. I'm from Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Welcome. Welcome. Is this your first time to be with us?
Yes, it is.
Oh, wonderful. Very much welcome. Very good.
I've always wanted to join live, but I always missed it for work or whatever.
I'm very glad you made it. Very good. Jai Ma.
Let's have David and Linda.
Yeah, we are David and Linda. We live in Williamsburg, Virginia, and that's where we have met Gloria and Mangalananda.
Yay.
Good to see you guys.
Guys.
And we're talking about coming back to Yogaville soon, but we'll make announcements at the end, so maybe we'll see you again then.
Thank you.
Jai Ma. Janet and David.
Jai Ma, Janet and David.
And we're in West Palm Beach, Florida.
Always good to see you both. I was visiting you recently, about a month or two ago?
Yeah, anytime.
Thank you, Jai Ma. And Greg.
Hi, Jai Ma. My name is Greg, and I live in Rio Rancho, New Mexico.
Good to see you, Greg. Good to see you. It's nice
Jai Ma,
to start coming and come regularly. It's really very nice.
So good to see you, Shama.
Yes. Namaste, everyone. Jai Ma. I'm in Ontario, Northern Ontario, with the pre-Cambrian rocks and lots of forests and vast waters.
Lovely.
Good to see you. Shama also received Diksha from Ma, so she's also a direct lineage. All glory to the independent country of Canada.
And Nirmala, Jennifer, you have a new name. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm in Seattle. That's all I have to say right now.
Very
Jai
good.
Ma.
Good to see you,
Jai
Nirmala.
Ma.
Nirmala means without blemish, without restriction, without what's the in other words, just spaciousness, and it's also Ma's given name at birth, Nirmala Sundari Devi. Beautiful.
Nishkala.
Hello, everyone. I'm here in Ithaca, New York, in the Finger Lakes. Great to be with you all.
And very, very good to see you. Jai Ma.
Jai Ma.
Yeah, Jai Ma.
Welcome. Jai Ma. Chris.
Hi, I'm Chris. Very, very grateful to be included here and so happy to be with you all. I'm from California, a tiny little town called Arcata on the northern coast.
Good to see you, Jai Ma.
Jai Ma.
It's really,
Jai Ma, Chris.
I appreciate everyone's patience and having and going through this because it's so good to see everyone's face and just tuning together. It's just, I think it's really important. Thank you for being patient with this.
And how about Sarah?
Sarah.
Jai Ma. I'm Sarah. I'm on the Big Island of Hawaii. Thank you for hosting this, especially on Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers.
Thank you, Sarah. Jai Ma.
Jai Ma.
Yana texted me that she can't come, but it's sweet to her to remember to text and say hello.
Yeah.
Sends a love to everybody.
Jai Ma.
Okay, that's it for right now.
Wow.
Jai Ma.
Okay, very good. So let's start as we always do with meeting Ma's words. Do we do the Ma? Oh, Ma Sharanam. We do it after this, don't we? Let's do it after this. We always like to start with reading Ma's words of assurance that she is hearing us, because who wants to just speak and not have anybody hear? We like hearing Ma affirm that she hears us. So these are Ma's own words. She says, I am ever with each one of you wherever you happen to be, but your vision is tied down to worldly matters and you have little time to direct your eyes to this body in your thoughts and actions. For those who are new to Ma's ways of expression, she did occasionally, but she rarely used the pronoun I. She would say, this body, Yeshua. So it was a way of just, expressing that she was also in all consciousness, not just in that little body. You have little times to direct your eyes to this body and your thoughts and actions. What can I do? But know it for certain that whatever you do in thought and deed, whether you are near or in distant lands, never escapes my loving attention. Just as at a flash of torchlight, your faces gleam forth in their bold outlines. All your facial expressions appear in my mind when you meditate on me or talk about me or sit down to pray to me. Such a beautiful thing to say. Let's think of a few more things. This body responds also to the fervent cries of those who have never even seen it. I do not wait for your spiritual readiness. Like the flowing Ganges, I go on bestowing my compassion on all. See, sometimes she would use the personal pronoun when it meant the big I. I go on bestowing my compassion on all. I am especially in need of those who are unable to fend for themselves and have none to prop them up in their spiritual life. Isn't that beautiful? It is a supreme fact that this body has not come into being to reap the fruits of past karma. Then she says, if this body behaved with you like an omniscient being, none of you would come near me. So that's why she would ask, how are you? What are you doing? Where are you from? And she knew it all already. For those who know me, I am one with them. For one who wants to know me, I am very near to them. And for one who does not know me, I am a beggar before them. She wants to know. You ask, if I love you, you may or may not be able to do without me, but I simply cannot do without any of you. I love this one. She says, anyone calling out for God from any land, in any language, and in any age, remember their cries reach this heart like waves crashing onto the sea. I think that's amazing. And there's some things different people said about Ma. Triveni Puri, the eminent realized state of Punjab, widely known as Kana Baba, was once asked by a devotee whether Ma was an avatar. That means an incarnation of God. Triveni Puri Baba said, an avatar is a small thing. Ma is that, use the word tat in Sanskrit, that from where the avatars incarnate. He also said, as the rivers meet the ocean, but no variation of its level takes place, similarly, all the religions, all the spiritual paths and bhavas are destined towards Ma. And under all circumstances, Ma always remains serene in the same state. As there is no limitation of the ocean, similarly, Ma cannot be bound within limits. And a few more things Ma says about herself. She says, and just to show how she was totally spontaneous, she responded to everyone's needs as the need arose, and she had no karma of her own, she had no desires of her own, so she just moved in the state of divine spontaneity to where she was needed. She says, whatever happens, she talks about within herself, may appear natural or unnatural, normal or supernormal, according to your vision or interpretation. Here, of course, karma and vasana do not even exist. So no karma and no vasana means personal desires. Here, all that can be said is, whatever happens is all equally welcome. Amazing. He says, whether this body talks to you or laughs or lies down, or whether it sinks to the ground and rolls about, as sometimes happens during kirtan, no matter how many different states and conditions this body may appear to be in, nevertheless, it always remains in one state. Indeed, everything arises out of that one state, that one bhava. So Ma said several times, like we would see her in different states of samadhi, we would see her in different bhavas, sometimes very interactive, sometimes very indrawn. But she experienced just one state of just perfect sahaja samadhi. That means divine union at all times. And many yogis, I've talked to people personally who had divine vision, and they said they see that Ma never steps out of that divine union, even for a split second, from her first breath to her last breath. So it's amazing, isn't it? So we're going to do some readings, but as we always say, we're going to intellectually, we're going to engage our intellect to study Ma's teachings and lives, but let's engage our heart first by singing to Ma, singing a kirtan we always do to Ma, to just tune into her presence within us. So we sing this simple kirtan, which is kind of the theme song of our ashram in India, which is called Ma Sharanam Ashram, where we say, Om Ma Sharanam. Sharanam means, Ma, you are my refuge. You are our place of safety. You are the stability in this restless life. Om Ma Sharanam. Let's turn on the sound. Okay, remind me to turn it off. Shri Shri Anandamayi Mata Ki Jai. Om Ma Sharanam. 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 Anandamayi Ma, Anandamayi Ma, Anandamayi Ma, Anandamayi Ma,
Anandamayi Ma, Anandamayi Ma,
Anandamayi Ma,
Anandamayi Ma,
Anandamayi Ma, Anandamayi Ma, Anandamayi Ma, Anandamayi Ma,
Anandamayi Ma, Anandamayi Ma,
Anandamayi Ma,
Anandamayi Ma,
Anandamayi Ma, Anandamayi Ma, Anandamayi Ma, Anandamayi Ma, Anandamayi Ma, Anandamayi Ma,
Anandamayi Ma, Anandamayi Ma,
Om Sharanam, Om Sharanam, Om Sharanam, Om Sharanam,
Om Sharanam, Om Sharanam, Om Sharanam,
Om Sharanam, Om Sharanam, Om Sharanam, Om Sharanam,
Om Sharanam, Om Sharanam, Om Sharanam,
Om Sharanam, Om Sharanam, Om Sharanam, Om Sharanam,
Om Sharanam, Om Sharanam, Om Sharanam, Om Sharanam,
Om Sharanam, Om Sharanam, Om Sharanam, Om Sharanam,
Om Sharanam, Om Sharanam, Om Sharanam, Om Sharanam,
Om Sharanam, Om
Om Sharanam,
Om Sharanam, Om 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 Om Sharanam, Om
Om Sharanam, Om
Om Sharanam, Om
Om Sharanam, Om
Om Sharanam, Om Sharanam, Om Sharanam, Om Sharanam,
Om Sharanam, Om Sharanam, Om Sharanam, Om Sharanam, Om Sharanam, Om Sharanam, Om Sharanam, Om Sharanam, Om Sharanam, Om Sharanam, Om Sharanam, Om Sharanam, Om Sharanam.
One last time all together. Om Sharanam, Om Sharanam, Om Sharanam, Om Sharanam. So let's just sit still for a moment and tune in, as we were talking earlier, tune into that presence of Ma within us, all around us and within us, listening to us, hearing us, loving us. So I'd like to read something from Ma's life first, because you can just see how she interacted with people. There's so many things to choose from of just wonderful experiences that she gave to people and things she did. But I thought this was a particularly sweet one, about how different people related to Ma in different ways. And everyone had their own way of relating to Ma. Some were very personal, some were very intimate, some were more awesome and respectful. Everyone had their own way of relating to Ma. This is a very sweet one. This is from Swami Narayananda Tirtha. He was known as just Narayan Maharaj. He was a very close devotee of Ma who spent literally decades of his life with Ma. Before he took sannyas, he was a businessman, one of Ma's devotees. He later took sannyas and became one of her swamis. So Narayan Swami says, after Guru Purnima in 1957, this is 1957, Maji came from Dehradun to Kashi Ashram, that's Varanasi. One day in the afternoon, a foreign, very senior gentleman and Madam, Meham Sahab, in other words, a man and a wife, foreigners, came for Ma's darshan. Mataji was resting in her room on the second floor. This was not the time for darshan. In the days of which this incident is being told, the time for Ma's darshan was 5 p.m. This was told to the gentleman. He agreed to wait until 5 p.m., but would not go without seeing Ma. They said that they had come in Kashi only for the sake of meeting Ma. A brahmachari took this conversation to Ma. On hearing this, Ma gave permission to bring them into her resting room. Mataji herself got up and sat on the bed. The visitors had not thought that they could get darshan of Ma even without a fixed time. On Ma's orders, they were informed that they might get darshan if they could come right now. On hearing this unexpected news, the American couple, they were Americans, the American couple reached Ma's resting room with great joy. They came and saw that Mataji was sitting on the bed. Their conversation was being translated to Ma through the ashram bilingual resident. In the course of the conversation, Ma pointed to herself and she referred to herself as your baby. She said, your baby says. Nowadays, Ma utters a few English words in between. She said, your baby in English. It was beautiful. Ma spoke English. One time, she looked at me and she said, sit down. And it was just, her voice was so beautiful in English. Hearing these two English words from Sri Sri Ma's mouth, their happiness knew no bounds. The madam, the lady, older lady, went to Ma and started pampering her like her own little daughter. She was overwhelmed. The feeling of motherly love stirred up her heart. Just as a mother's affection overflows on seeing her newborn child after a long gap, this wonderful lady's condition was the same on caressing Ma. How this lady expressed the love in her heart was beyond. She was overwhelmed with the excess of affection and love towards Ma. Here the gentleman was watching his wife's affection with a steady gaze. At last he could not stop the deep affectionate feeling in his heart and went near Ma and placed her head on his shoulder and started caressing her with such affection as if he had actually found his daughter after a long time. There was not even a hint of artificiality in this behavior. This was complete and pure affection. This pure and selfless love of the American couple towards Ma is very rare in the world. For a long time, both of them were looking at Ma silently without blinking. Their desire to keep looking at their daughter was not ending. They were staring at Ma in this intoxication. We just know this from being with Ma. It was definitely an intoxicated state. There was no trace of any selfishness or motive in this. They became absorbed in looking at Ma. Wow. After some time, they returned to our everyday world in their consciousness. The faces of the husband and wife were now filled with a natural beauty, literally looking at Ma. Sometimes later, as if they returned to this world and became more normal, but still their faces were beaming with bright, it says beaming, so it's beaming with joy. While bidding farewell to Sri Ma, both of them were crying. Those were pure drops of tears filled with love of the parents towards their child. as if the mind was not allowing the moment of separation from Mataji. The man would not take one step forward, but the man would take one step forward and then turn back and look at Ma and wipe his tears with his handkerchief, as if leaving their dearest beloved one. It was a poignant moment of saying goodbye. Even today, this heart-rending and sad scene is flashing before my eyes. But even more heartbreaking was, after their departure, when Sri Ma expressed her feeling of love in her heart and said, this is Ma's words, "The way this gentleman loved me today, even the father of this body never loved this body like this." Oh. Isn't that sweet? Gloria's saying, "Oh." Isn't that sweet? So there were countless ways of relating to Ma. But they were lucky. They had such paternal love. It's a beautiful, and that's called Vatsalya Bhav. It means worshiping God as a baby, as your own child, like Sri Krishna's mother Yashoda had this towards Ma. Even in the Christian tradition, they have devotion towards the infant of Prague and everything. So we look on God as, yeah, they say it's the most pure bhav, because it's a parent's unselfish love for their child without getting anything in return. Even the lover gets the lover back and gets satisfaction from this, but to have the affection of a parent towards their child is a very pure bhav. Isn't that beautiful? and there's so many things fill my mind. They said they were just sitting intoxicated, looking at Ma in this absolute state. They were just in a zone looking at Ma, and that was so true. When I was with Ma, Ma moved constantly. For 50 years, she traveled incessantly. So to be with her was to have to keep up with her. And every night, no matter where we were, we would just sit with Ma. And oftentimes, Ma would have someone sing kirtan, but we would just sit with Ma and look at Ma. And it was really the word darshan. The darshan means having a divine blessing through sight. It was a pure, pure darshan. To ever just sit and look at Ma, like it described here, you were put into a different state. And you could just sit spellbound for hours and watch Ma. In fact, I went to just, I think, one Samyan Sapta. That's the yearly retreat Ma was very big on giving with Ma in Vrindavan. And there were speakers going on all the time. And at the time, I did not speak Hindi. I do now. So we couldn't understand what's going on, but we would just sit near Ma and just look at Ma for hours. And when our eyes rested on Ma, it was put you in a totally different state of mind, and it was intoxicating. She just emanated such deep spirituality. She lifted up the whole room. It was just amazing. So I understand. I want to read that one thing one more time. For a long time, both of them were looking toward Ma, silently, without blinking. Their desire to keep looking at their daughter was not ending. They were staring at Ma in this intoxication. That's so wonderful. So I want to read a couple more things before I give it over to Pragya. Just a couple of words of instruction. Let's listen to this. Ma says this about us, about our keeping our spiritual states really sheltered within ourselves. She says, "Look, when a seed is put into the ground, it has to be covered with earth. If you take it out again and again to examine it, it cannot grow into a tree. No matter from whom you may have received the seed mantra, the Bij mantra, if keeping it concealed in your heart, you practice it regularly as prescribed, it will in time grow into a tree and bear flowers and fruits." This practice we have of saying the mantra and meditating on it, she's assuring us if we keep that power within ourselves and keep practicing, it will flower and blossom. Whatever the Guru may be like who has bestowed it on you, let's start again. Whatever the Guru may be like who has bestowed this mantra on you, it is God's own name that you have been given. So why should it not serve its purpose? Just as a small child is unable to distinguish one seed from another, you perhaps may not know what kind of seed you have received from the Guru. But if you wholeheartedly take care of it, you will most certainly come to know what kind of seed it was after it has grown into a tree and developed flowers and fruits. If one has no idea what kind of seed has been put into the earth, but provides it with all the nourishment it needs, will it not thrive and develop into a tree? Similarly, regardless of who the Guru may be, if you tend this seed in keeping with the prescribed rules, you will surely reap the fruits. So she's just encouraging us. So wherever we got our mantra from, whether we chose it on our own, or whether it was given to us by someone, if we just take that name and keep working with it, it will come to fruition. Like she said, it's God's name. Why wouldn't it do its work? One more quick thing from Ma that I think is very relevant today, to right now. We're in very disturbing and very disturbing times right now. You know, it's just things are just very volatile, both internationally and domestic. You know, if we just look at the news, you know, our immediately our minds are disturbed. And so Ma always said, have the detachment to be able to, you know, see what's going on. We should, you know, follow what's going on so we can know what to do in our lives. But she always stressed, have the detachment to take things within the wider perspective of our spiritual life. So people always ask her, how do you find peace? So Ma said this: peace can be promised only when the mind is concentrated on what gives us peace, and the eyes rest upon what strengthens peace, when the ears listen to what fills the heart with peace, and when you hear at all times the answer of the one who is himself peace. Let me read that one more time, because this is very important. Peace can be promised only when the mind is concentrated on what gives us peace, and the eyes rest upon what strengthens peace, when the ears listen to what fills the heart with peace, and when you hear at all times the answer of the one who is himself peace. So Ma said many times, how can we be at peace when we constantly disturb our minds by concentrating on what is in motion, in disturbance, in anxiety? So, like I say, I think we do have to follow the news and things like that, but she's encouraging us to keep meditating on what gives us peace. So what is that? Of course, it's God's name. It's satsang like this with like-minded devotees. It's singing kirtan with people. It's studying the words of peace. It's praying to the one who is peace. And she says, experiencing the one who is peace. So we have to remember to nourish ourselves with peace if we want to be at peace. So we can't constantly nourish ourselves with overstimulation, which is so rampant in today's society. Having constantly the ears on the phone, the things plugged in, listening to music, you know, constantly having the mind just disturbed with more and more external stimulation. As spiritual aspirants, as devotees of Ma, Ma always said there is a way a devotee lives, and that is in being a little bit separate, in withdrawing from this world, especially today's society, which is so just crazy, and creating a bubble, an environment for ourselves. This is our home. This is our small ashram. We live in a temple. You know, by having religious imagery in our houses, by having spiritual books to read, by keeping company of people who are spiritually minded. And so that way we're meditating on peace. She says, concentrate the mind on what gives us peace. Let the eyes rest on what strengthens peace. Pictures of Ma. The ears listen to what fills the heart with peace. The singing of God's name, beautiful discourses. There's so many we can find on YouTube or whatever. And then listening to the answer of the one who is peace. So this is our spiritual life. She says also, it may be tiresome in the beginning to live in harmony with the highest ideals, but finally it leads to a genuine sense of well-being and peace. One must learn to find joy in the sublime. If one is blessed with a human body, is it wrong not to live accordingly? Why should we go after animal instincts? So she always says, she had a very high definition, a high bar of what it meant to be human. For Ma, in Ma's definition, to be human, she said, the word in Sanskrit is manush. That means manush. It means a conscious mind. She said the human is one who has a conscious mind turned towards God. So we can't just live after eating, sleeping, and procreating like the animals do. Ma always demanded of us, to require of us, to live a life that's externally spiritual as well as internally spiritual. And finally she says, okay, let's do one more thing. Children of the eternal, that's what she's calling us. Children of the eternal must concentrate their thoughts on him. Separated from him, they have not even a chance of peace. She says, never, never, never. Only by living in God can a person find peace. The veil will be torn, and the dispeller of worries and fear will be revealed. He alone is the vanquisher of evil. He is yours, the only beloved of the human heart. And she's using a genderless pronoun. It's translated as he, but she's saying he, she, it. Last of all, Ma observes us. He says, You and I are two persons in your eyes, and yet you and I are one. And even the distance between us is myself. It's me, myself. There is no question of two here. Attachment and hatred result from the feeling of duality. So Ma is assuring us that she's not separate from us, and we are not separate from her. She always saw us as one with her. So we need to keep reminding ourselves that we are one with her. So, Pragya, would you like to? So I'm going to hand over the meeting to Pragya, and she'll maybe sing a kirtan, and then we'll read from her book, which I hope she'll explain what her book is. Okay, Pragya.
Jai Ma, everyone. So we have Ma Satsang every Tuesday night here at our temple to Ma. It's on Zoom and also in person. And this past Tuesday, given the tumultuousness of this week, where it seems as though every day some new horrific thing is happening in the world of change, I decided to sing this kirtan, which I don't usually sing at Ma Satsang, but I find it really, really addresses this time where we need to reach out to all beings in the past, in the present, and the future. So I thought I'd sing it again today. This is a poem that that Krishnadas was asked to set to music by a Zen Roshi who lived around here and was very famous, Bernie Glassman. And so it's a combination of a Zen poem to all beings in English and Sri Ram Jai Ram. And then we'll end by singing Om Ma Shri Ma Jai Jai Ma. So how's the sound? Is the sound okay? Good. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. 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 Sitaram, 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 Sitaram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Join in. Shri Ram Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai 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 Jai Ram. Sitaram, 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 Sitaram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Calling out to hungry hearts everywhere through endless time. You who wander, you who thirst, I offer you this heart of mine. Calling out to hungry spirits your joy and your sorrow, I make it mine. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai 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 Jai Ram, Sita 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 Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Om Ma Shri Ma Jai Jai Ma. 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 Om Ma, 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 Om Ma. Shri Ma Jai Ma Jai Jai Ma. Om Ma Shri 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 Ma Jai Jai Ma. Shri Shri Anandamayi Mata Ki Jai. Jai Ma. Now we have to turn off my original sound before we can do our reading. Right, Mangalananda? We have to keep doing this on and off original sound thing.
Actually, I found it's such that we can keep the original sound on. I'm turning mine off because you have a next door neighbor mowing his lawn, but pretty much you can keep it on the whole time. I think it's okay.
Practice with that. So we're going to read now from the first volume of the Gospel of Sri Anandamayi Ma. And the story of this set of books, this 2-volume set, is that there was a remarkable young man who it was known by both Mangalanandaji and Arpitaji in Florida. They all went to see Ma around the same time. And he was from Oklahoma. And you'll be interested to know that his brother has been in touch with me. And now he wants to come visit us. And I'm so excited about that. So this young man was named Gadadhar. His original name was Gary MP. And his job when he was around Sri Ma was to collect the tapes that were made as Ma was speaking. This was a very low-tech situation with just a tape recorder. And the women who took care of Ma, one of them would have the job of pressing the button to record Ma's words. And so as a result, we have about 50 tapes of Ma's question and answer session. And I was blessed to be given some translations of the tapes that weren't very accurate because the person was not a Ma devotee who transcribed them and translated them. So my friend Jaya, who is Ma's grandniece, and I spent a year at the Harvard Archive where these tapes had been donated by Gadadhar's mother after he passed away, and came up with 900 pages of Ma's words. And we all are finding such solace in reading them, meditating on them before we go to bed, because these conversations are just so precious. So today I'm reading from actually the first tape in the set, which is tape number 7. And it took place, this conversation in 1960 in Pune, May, June at the Sanyam Saptaha there. So there's a kind of persistent person questioning Ma about God and the nature of God and saying, why would we worship a guru? Why would anyone worship somebody in a human body? And so the questioner says, we worship God because he is the self. He never bears a body. Shri Ma, here's the thing. This body never says that you should worship a man or woman, and this body has never told anybody to worship this body. Questioner, the soul comes into this world bearing a body, and that body is not immortal. It must perish. Shri Ma, listen. Questioner, and he, the person posing as a god, is not God. There's no power above God, and he never bears a body. Shri Ma, listen. In Bangladesh and some other places, it is customary for people to worship a kumari, a virgin girl. In some countries, people worship children. They see those children as Bala Gopal, the child Krishna, while in a kumari, a virgin girl, they see Kumari Parvati, the virgin goddess. At some other places, an auspicious woman who is married and not a widow is worshipped. So who do they worship? Questioner, we worship God, who is immortal. Shri Ma, she doesn't listen to this body, but she keeps on speaking. One of the Babas there, probably one of the Swamis, says, please let Ma finish first. Listen to what she says. Shri Ma, and then there are gurus. In some places, people worship their gurus. Why? Because the guru removes darkness. That is why they worship the guru. That is what this body says. In all of them, who do they worship? They worship only Gopal, or God. You have heard what these Mahatmas have explained. All is in all. Sab mein sab hai. In the self, it is the self in you, God himself, who is worshipped. If someone were to worship your body, he would be a fool. It would be very bad. We should not worship the body because, as you said, it is perishable. It does not live long. But if someone worships and honors God in you, he is correct. If someone worships his guru, even though the guru is bearing a body, this body never disapproves of him. Why? He does not worship the guru's body, but rather he worships the soul in that body. If he worships the guru's body, he is totally wrong. This body has heard it is only to be done like this. Those who worship Kumaris, virgin girls, do not worship their bodies, but they worship the virgin goddess within them. Those who worship children see Krishna in them. Those who worship married women honor the goddess Shakti in them. They all worship that one God in all these forms. One should never worship a person or his or her body. This body totally disapproves of that. For example, some people worship a tree. Do they worship the body of that tree? No, they honor God in it. They think that the tree possesses God in it. People worship Tulasi, the holy basil plant. What do you think? Do they worship an inanimate plant? No, they worship God in it. That Tulasi has God in it. There is Narayana in it. The people worship the Shiva Linga, a stone worshipped as a symbol of Shiva. If someone asks, hey, why do you worship this stone? He will say, I am not worshiping the stone, but rather Lord Shiva in it. The person worshiping the idol is not worshiping the stone, but God is there in that stone. That is why it is said, while worshiping, one should not see the stone in the idol or the man in the guru. I'll say that again. While worshiping, one should not see the stone in the idol or the man in the guru. The idol of Shiva, though made of stone, is not stone. People worship it thinking it to be Shiva himself. How many stones are lying everywhere? Had they been worshiping a stone, they would have worshipped all of them, but they do not do so. In some other idols, they see Narayana, Sri Krishna. Some people have the statues of Sri Ramachandra, Lord Rama, and Shankaracharya, the famous philosopher, and they worship them. You should not prevent them from doing so. This body recently has seen a place where they worship Shankaracharya. They do not worship the idol, the stone. They think of Jnana Swarupa, Atma Swarupa, God as all knowledge, and the Supreme Self as being there. They keep the bhav, the devotional feeling, in their minds, and they worship the idol. If they worship the stone, they are wrong, totally wrong. Stone worship is useless. There is one more thing. When a person reaches a particular state, he sees nothing but Vishvarup, God in every form. When we say stone, it is the name of God. Tree is the name of God. There was a Mahatma whose inner eye was opened. This mother has asked a very beautiful question, and this is an important thing to understand. That Mahatma reached this bhav, this inner devotional feeling, and whatever came before his eyes, he would start repeating that very name as the name of God. If he saw a tree, he would repeat, tree, 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 tree. He would go on repeating, potato, 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 if he saw a potato. Anything he saw, he would repeat that name as the name of God. Gopinath Kaviraj, very famous and renowned scholar and devotee of Ma's, told this body this story. This man was a great pundit. Many people know him. So Gopinath told us that someone asked that Mahatma. All others recite the name of God, for example, Narayana, or they recite a Bij mantra. But what are you doing? You're reciting Alu, potato. Is that a name of God? Or is it a potato god? Ma starts laughing and everyone laughs with her. Ma laughs and everybody follows. He laughed and said, "You've spoken correctly. You also are God. You are He only. I do not see anything or anybody except Him. All names are His. All forms are His. Rupa, form. Arupa, formless. Guna, quality. Everything is He alone. There is nothing but that." So what this says is that when a person gets real vision, when his eyes are open, he behaves just like that. Whatever he looks at with those eyes, he sees Him only. He sees that He has come to him in that form, with that name, and he starts repeating that very name. That's what happened to that Mahatma. What should we think about him? We should think that he has achieved the particular state in which He, God, was visible to him in every place, in everything, in every form, in every time. Questioner: so he even sees bad things as God, Ma? Shri Ma: yes, there is nothing but Him. Jai Ma.
Thank you, Pragya. Will you share your thoughts about this reading?
Oh, I hardly have thoughts. It's more a feeling of, I feel that I need as many reminders as possible that everything is one. That, as Ma says, Dvitiyo Nasi, there is no second, there's only one. And just Ma trying to teach this woman who was stubbornly saying, no, 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 we shouldn't worship anything with the human body. And Ma saying, it's all in your vision, whatever your vision is. And if your vision is that all is God, then you can worship anything. And I love the idea of this person having a mantra for everything: potato, potato, potato. So there's a lot of humor to it, but I just love that Ma just constantly brings everything back to the absolute. Jai Ma.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, this to me is a very condensed form of Ma's ultimate teaching. That everything is God. I lived in one of Ma's ashrams in central India for 12 years, and the head of the ashram, Sri Swami Kedarnath, wrote many books about Ma and studied Ma's teachings so intensely. So together, all of us there, we really compiled Ma's teachings. We went through it all. We studied it. He wrote it in Hindi. I would translate it in English. And we came to the conclusion that one of Ma's main teachings is, beside the practical teaching, with the tool she often recommended was repeating the name of God. But her overall philosophical teaching was this very thing that Pragya just read, that everything that comes to us is God, everything we see is God. And so our sadhana was patterned after that. And Swami Kedarnath explained to us that the Vedantic sadhana is called neti neti. It means they look at everything and say, not this, not this. This is not the self. This is not the self. And they disqualify everything they see until they finally found the only thing left, which is the self. And that's a very valid traditional sadhana. But he said Ma's teaching is iti iti. That means all this, all this, all this. Everything is God now. And he even told us once that those who go, because he grew up with a very Vedantic guru in this way before he came to Ma. And he said anyone who goes through this process of neti, 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 and finally comes to the self, has to eventually go back and do iti, 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 and realize that everything they're seeing is God. So he said, why not just cut that middle step and just start here? Ma's way is seeing everything as God. So he would tell us, when you're meditating, we're looking inside, we're following the breath, we're saying our mantra, we're thinking of God. And then the minute we come out of meditation, as we go into the world, we should try to see everything, every moment, as a manifestation of Ma. And we had many exercises where we did that. And that's how this particular yoga called Swakriya Yoga that Swami Guru Shorananda teaches came about through seeing all the elements as divine. You know, air, earth, water, fire, ether, everything is a manifestation of God. So this reading is really good, because this is instructing us in a good sadhana that Ma would prescribe, seeing everything as the divine. And what's nice is when we look at Ma, when we look at a tree, so often we see the veil of the tree. We just see the tree. We just see the person. We have to really get deeper to see the divine within it. But when we look at Ma is divinity unveiled. So it's nice. In fact, in the reading that I did about the wonderful old couple who came and related to Ma in such a loving way, it said at one point that their faces were shining. And it brought back a memory I had. I was with several Western Ma devotees in Kanpur, I think we were, for a program that Ma was doing for 2 or 3 weeks there. So we were with her every day. And everyone would have different times when they would ask Ma for a private. That's the words we used. We said, Ma, can we have a private? That meant just a one-on-one with Ma, where we could ask about our practice and any questions that had arisen. And I remember one of the person with us was Ram Alexander, who, you know that book, Death Must Die, Atmananda's Diary? He published that, and he's an old-time devotee of Ma and an old friend of mine. And I remember Ram at one point asked Ma if he could have a private. So we were all sitting, we were waiting, and Ma was having privates with people in this little tent. And so Ram went in and had like a 45-minute private with Ma, asking her questions about his spiritual life and things. And so, in other words, for 45 minutes, you know, we had to have a translator at the time. So we just himself or whoever was having the private, and the translator and Ma. So in a private, you would literally I had several with Ma. You just sit, and Ma is like this close to you, looking right up at Ma, and you're talking to her and asking questions, and Ma feels your whole gaze, your entire gaze is just Ma. So he'd been sitting there for 45 minutes, just looking at Ma, asking her questions. And I mean, I still see the scene in my mind. We were sitting out on the side, kind of just talking among ourselves, and I think lunch had just happened, or so there was just kind of a time where people were just milling around. So suddenly Ram walks out of the tent and starts walking towards us, and every one of us saw it. His face was literally shining with light. His face was illumined with light. And at the time we started talking about it, we said, in the Old Testament it was said, when Moses, the great prophet, came down from the mountain after talking face to face with God with the 10 Commandments, it said his face was shining so radiantly that the Israelites complained, and he had to put a veil over his face because it was dazzling them. And we talked about that, how we all saw Ram's face was literally shining with light because he'd been looking at light itself. He'd been looking at Ma's form for the last 45 minutes. So we can, that form of Ma in the body is no longer with us, but we can look at Ma in our mind and in our heart and also radiate God. And this is a great sadhana. This just trying to see everything as God at all times. It's a wonderful sadhana. And we do some Swikriya yoga kriyas after meditation. I always like to do just to see you tune into the elements through the chakras to just try and see everything as divine. But it's a good practice. And like Pragya was saying, during this time where things are so there's so many divisions being drawn and so much anger and resentment and things going around from everybody, both worldwide. People are tossing nuclear missiles at each other and things. This is a time where we need to try and practice this. That behind all this disturbance, there's nothing but the divine. There's nothing but Ma. And this is a play. The great Saint Paramhansa Yogananda writes in his autobiography, the autobiography of a yogi, a classic spiritual book. He was living at the end of his life during the midst of World War II. And he said one time he had seen a newsreel about the horrors going on in Europe on the battlefields, and he was so disturbed. And he said, as he was doing his meditation, he said God took him out of his body and suddenly put him right in the middle of the battlefield, and he entered into the body of another soldier who was then shot and killed, and he saw the horror of it all, and suddenly he was back in his own body, and he wept, and he said, God, what is this? And he said God spoke to him. And this is, people say God speaks to me. This is a realized thing, a master saying. So God did speak to him. God spoke to him and said, this is all my play of light, my play of shadow and light, darkness and light. It's just as the stream of a movie goes out, and it's really just light, but when it hits the screen, it goes into all these forms you see. So God told Yogananda, he said, don't be attached. Realize that yes, we should have total empathy. We should pray for people, but we should ultimately see it as this God's movie, this light that's being played. And in that detached viewpoint, we cannot get so sucked into it and emotionally involved. Whereas we can follow things and be intelligently involved, but we can see it. It's all Ma's play of light and darkness. So, let's open the floor now. Let's do one more quick kirtan to Ma. Now we like to show images of Ma during this time because Ma now gives darshan through her photos. Many people know that. They've had so many experiences looking at a photo of Ma and it coming to life and looking in her eyes. So usually we show a slideshow of Ma's photos as we sing, but due to technical difficulties, namely our tech host is gone, and I couldn't find my program on this new computer where I project images. We'll just have to just sing. So let's just sing these simple words. Jaya Ma, Jaya Ma.
Can I interrupt just a second?
Yeah.
Arpita had her hand up at the end of, or while you were speaking. Arpita, did you have something you wanted to ask?
Yes, Arpita also received Diksha from Ma. I knew her at the time I was traveling with Ma too. So yes, please, Arpita, do you have something?
Oh, that's okay. You go ahead. I don't need to speak. It's fine. Thank you.
Maybe during sharing, Arpita.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that. Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Okay. Thank you. Good to see you, Arpita. You came late. We didn't see you earlier. So let's just sing Jaya Ma, Jaya Ma. Means victory to Mother. What's her victory is our salvation. She is longing for our spiritual uplift. That's why she came. So we say Jaya Ma, Anandamayi Ma. Anandamayi, overflowing with bliss. And then we just say Karunamayi Ma. Karuna is compassion. So Karunamayi, you're overflowing with compassion too. So sorry we don't have Ma's images here. That would be much better than just looking at me, but anyway. Jaya Ma, 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 Anandamayi Ma, Jaya Jaya Ma, Anandamayi Ma. Jaya Jaya Ma, Jaya Ma, Jaya Ma, Anandamayi Ma, Jaya Jaya Ma,
Anandamayi Ma,
Jaya Jaya Ma, Anandamayi Ma, Jaya Jaya Ma. I realize I don't have the right, it wasn't coming out right. You gotta have this original sound on or it doesn't come out. Is that on? Was the harmonium coming through, Pragya? Okay, maybe
Yes,
it was
it sounded perfect.
on. Okay. Anandamayi Ma, Jaya Jaya Ma, Anandamayi Ma, Jaya Jaya Ma. I'm totally off of this. Karunamayi He Ma, Anandamayi He Ma, 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 Jaya 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 Ma, Anandamayi Ma, Jaya 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 Jaya Ma. Om Ma, 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 Anandamayi Ma, Jaya Jaya Ma, Anandamayi Ma, Jaya Jaya Ma. So let's open up the floor for sharing. Excuse me. Now let's remember to keep the subject on Anandamayi Ma, her teachings. It can be anything, but just let's keep it confined to Ma and her teachings and what it means to us. Anything like that, how we came to Ma. I love to hear people's input. Arpita, can I ask you, did you have something you wanted to share?
Yeah, thank you for that. I was reading something this morning from a group, Sri Anandamayi Ma. And Ma once said, by whatever path anyone approaches the divine, this little girl heartily welcomes him. All paths were Ma's path. All possible known sadhanas and yogas had spontaneously revealed themselves and played within Ma's person, making her the repository of all spiritual traditions and techniques. Ma instructed each person individually according to their specific needs. and then it goes on. But she had a repetitive theme, and it was that the sole purpose of human existence was the search for truth and its attainment. This body always says and will continue to say that it is man's bounden duty as a human being to find God. Well, I lost it, but yeah. But basically that's man's duty. And it's incumbent upon us to find the path that suits us and that we can follow. And so that's very relevant. And also, when I was with Ma, my teaching was not transmitted by words or intellect, because with me, I don't remember her speaking any English, but rather it was a consciousness that was imparted from one universal consciousness, which is Ma or was Ma, to my individual, for want of a better term, consciousness. But yet there was a complete knowing, a complete absorption and grokking that was transmitted. And I feel like silence was the vehicle in many ways, even though I did receive teachings that were specific via words. The real teaching for me when I was in her presence was beyond words. It was awareness, pure consciousness and being. Yeah.
Wow. That's
Jema.
Tema, thank you for sharing that, Arthur. That's very, very true and very profound. It's really true. The Indians used to ask us Westerners who were visiting. There weren't that many Westerners around Ma. It wasn't like some other saints. You don't understand what Ma is saying and she speaks. What do you get out of this? But the truth is, some of them kind of envied us because our contact with Ma was, in a way, even deeper. Because it is true, she imparted everything through silence to us, and we didn't have to know what she said. That's why it's kind of nice now reading this book from Pragya, because we can then understand what was being said in these satsangs that we didn't at the time. But it's true, Ma imparted things through silence. She imparted things through consciousness to consciousness. That great saint Ramana Maharshi of South India once said that silence is the language of the soul, and people also would just come and sit in front of him in silence and receive everything. So
well, for me, that's the way things become clear. That it seems like words obscure rather than illuminate. And I mean, I do remember when Gadadhar was in the process of, he was telling me how he was going to tape Ma's talks, and he was so excited about it. He was so happy about it and enthusiastic. And I think he would just be beyond if he had seen all of this materialize. He was a very dear soul, and we were good friends. Not just spiritually, but we had confidences in each other, and very good person, very kind man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very wisely and beautifully dedicated the books, these 2 volumes, to him at the beginning. Yeah, I lived with him for a year in the ashram where in Oklahoma City before going to India, and then my first trip to India was his second, and then he stayed. I knew him quite well. He was a wonderful man. Yeah, I'm glad his work has become published now. It's really good. that in that reading you very nicely gave also, there's one important point that all sadhanas known to humankind played through Ma's body during that 6-year period. We call her Lila of Sadhana. While she just watched it all happen because she was in a state of perfect awakening already, all these sadhanas played through her body so that then she could instruct people minutely in any sadhana later that came. And one unique manifestation about Ma was her utter universality. And that's what's so important in today's world, I think, more than ever. Like Sri Ramakrishna, I don't compare different manifestations of saints and avatars because they all have there's no higher or lower. They all have their own distinct thing to bring. Sri Ramakrishna, and during his time in the late 1800s, when it was a very sectarian time where everybody was arguing and warring with each other about religious matters, he practiced all the major world religions and found the unity behind them all. But Ma even took it a step further, that every possible sadhana known to man was manifested in her body. That's an incredible thing. And she, by her very presence, she brought everyone together. By her very presence, she reconciled opposites. And so I think that's hugely important in today's world. Plus the fact that she also brought women into their proper place within society. She emphasized including women in spiritual life. She reinstated having the Gayatri Mantra given to girls as well as boys. She did many things that are very relevant to today's world and culture and problems. And this universality of hers is a major thing right there. Anyone else? Anyone have her hand up or anything?
Shama has her hand up.
Please, Shama.
Well, Arpita, I really thank you for that because I definitely relate to the time sitting in the hall with Ma and just being in quiet with her. And often there would be some background singing, just as you gave us, Mangalanandaji. And not having the visuals change, so that I just had my eyes shut and saw Ma with your words, your singing. It was quieter somehow than to have the movement of the visual changing. You know, I think that folks know at the ashram with Ma, there were times very specifically honored just to sit. No teaching, nothing else, but being in the quietness with Ma. I love that. And thank you for this quieter time of sitting together.
Well, thank you, Shama. I'll keep that in mind. That's something to keep in mind. It is true. It was instigated in all of Ma's ashrams, and even now, as the custom is held of the moan time from 8:45 to 9 at night. In all of Ma's ashrams, our ashram at Ma Sharanam and everywhere, there'll be a conch shell that blows at 8:45. Everyone stops and just sits in silence. And of course, during Ma's day, we would sit with Ma in silence and just be there in silence with her. It was wonderful. Yeah, it's true. It is true. Silence is the best teacher. Yeah. So wonderful. Yeah. Anyone else? Please, anyone, we'd love to have some sharing of people's feelings, ideas about the readings, or anything that Ma has told you and your heart, and how you came to Ma. Anything. Anyone having anything to share?
Chris?
Hi, thank you. I feel funny talking after you just said, silence is the best teacher. Probably should have taken your hint, but I don't really have anything interesting or meaningful to say. I just wanted to share just my own personal little something that occurred to me that when I was a little boy, I had a photograph of my mother that I cherished so much. And I was very surprised when I was looking at pictures of Ma. I found a photo of Sri Ma that reminds me so much of that photograph of my mother. And in fact, when my brother first told me about Sri Ma, he handed me a copy of Matri Darshan, her book, pictures, and my spontaneous reaction was, Mom, meaning, hey, it's our mother, look. And he was like, what? And I was like, yeah, look, she looks just like Mom. But it was like, it was just some photographs, she looked just like my mother, and then others, she looked like other people I knew. It's a very peculiar thing. Anyway, I've prattled on long enough. Thank you.
Chris, thank you so much for sharing that. That is so, first of all, so heartfelt. And also, I can assure you, this is a totally valid experience. This is validated by countless devotees. What you experience is a totally valid experience. And I've talked to many people who have had the same experience. And if we can give an explanation for this, I mean, this is just my own explanation. Okay, first let's talk about the experience. We've had many people say that. She looked just like my mother. She looked just like this. I first noticed my mother was a pianist and she had very distinct hands, very long fingers, and interesting. The first time I saw Ma's hands, it looked like I always see Ma's hands looking like my mother's hands, which is interesting. So many people saw Ma looking like their mother, their aunt, their grandmother, anyone that meant something to them very dearly and sentimentally saw that in Ma. And of course, on even a deeper level, people would see Ma as their Ishta Devata. They would see Ma suddenly as Kali. They were looking with open eyes at Ma, and her countenance would turn dark and she would look like Kali. They would see Ma as Krishna. One person who I know, her granddaughter, Mata, can't remember her name now, but she was a Sikh, and she saw Ma walk into her meditation room dressed as Guru Gobind Singh, who was the last of the 10 Sikh gurus. So everyone saw Ma as a reflection of what was most dear to them. And my explanation for this is that Ma is that. She is the soul itself, she's the divine itself. And so we see in her these intimate things, the things like your mother meant so much to you. And so Ma reflects that and appears to you in that way. People came to Ma after the death of one of their children many times, and Ma would console them in different ways. One instance, this lady came and she was just bereaved, and she couldn't get over the pain of the loss of her daughter, her young daughter. And then Ma started talking to her, and Ma said to her, "I will be your daughter." And the woman burst into tears because she said, "You just said that sentence in my daughter's voice." Exactly. She heard Ma speaking in her exact daughter's voice. I mean, just the intonation and even the very sound of the voice. So Ma, to me, this means Ma is the most intimate. She's the Antaryami. That means the indweller of the heart. And so she does appear to us in the form of whatever is dear to us. So your experience is very valid and has been validated by countless devotees having similar experiences of the same thing. Oh, Ma looks like my mother. Really interesting.
I just wanted to concur with you, Chris, because when I first saw Ma, I saw my grandmother, then I saw my mother, and then ultimately I was seeing myself. And that's what I was left with, that I was seeing my true self. But it was grandmother, mother, and then myself.
Beautiful. Totally valid. In fact, I mentioned before in these satsangs, I always like to ask people about their first darshan of Ma, and almost everyone has a similar experience, of course, tailored in different ways according to their inner impressions, of this utter familiarity, I mentioned before in my first darshan of Ma, looking at Ma and realized I've always known her. There's never been a time in my existence, not this even this life, where I didn't know her. There'll never be a time when I don't know her. The soul would just have these aha moments of recognition of who Ma was. We can talk about Ma was this and that, was Ma an avatar, was Ma a saint. That's just intellectual game playing. The soul knew who she was, and it can't be put into words. As you say, Arpita, it can't be put into words. It can only be expressed in silence and in love. Yeah, interesting. I was going to tell you, that's a beautiful observation too. The final vision was, this is my own self. And Ma said that many times. Our dear friend who we knew, who I think all of us here who were with Ma knew, was Shraddha Davenport. Shraddha and Satya were two American devotees who came to Ma late 60s, early 70s, and were totally devoted to Ma the rest of their lives. I eventually put Shraddha's ashes of her body into the Ganga at Ma's Samadhi just a couple of years ago. But she wrote a beautiful book called In Her Perfect Love, just about her different trips to Ma and their experiences. You can find it on the website anandamayi.org. It's given as an ebook to download. Beautiful book. And she said that in her first experience, she said she was with Ma and she was feeling this familiarity, and she kept trying to define it in her mind. Why is Ma so familiar? Why is Ma so familiar? And then she realized right there in her first darshan, I'm seeing my own self. I'm seeing my own real self in kind of a smoke and mirrors thing, reflected as Ma. So I think that's the highest darshan of Ma, which you just said, Arpita, that you saw her as your own self. And that's really true also. And Ma also validated this many times. She would, when people would come new people would come to Ma, and some of Ma's attendants would say, "Oh Ma, someone new has come." Ma would always say, "No one is new. Everyone is familiar." And there was one Matri darshan at a Samyan Sapta one evening. I was not there, but I read about this, where people kept coming to Ma and saying, they would start asking Ma questions. They would say, "Ma," and she would say, "No, I'm not your Ma." They would say, "Ma," and she said, "No, I'm not Ma." And this went on all night, and people were just kind of amazed. And finally they said, "Ma, if you're not Ma, who are you?" And she said very firmly, "I am your own self. I am your own self." And that's I think the ultimate realization about who Ma is. She's our own self without the coverings of ignorance that we have. We have misidentification. I am the body, I am this mind, I am this personality, I am these samskaras. But beneath it all is the consciousness of who Ma really is and who we really are. And they are one. Just like I read earlier, and Ma said, "You and I are not separate, and the space between us is also I myself, me myself." So yeah, that ultimately, I opened this whole session with saying there are so many stages of progression of invocation of Ma and understanding of Ma. And I think this is the final one, where we realize for ourselves, Ma is our very own self. And that's why she's so important to relate to now in any way that we relate to her. When we look at her picture, when we read her words, when we say her mantra, when we say, I was given Gayatri mantra by one of Ma's Swamis, and I look on it as a form of Ma. I look on it when I say the mantra, that it's literally the vibrational sound of Ma. So we look on everything as Ma, and eventually we realize everything is Ma, including me, including my very own self. It's Ma. So that's a good conclusion, Arpita. Thanks for sharing that. Anyone else have anything? There's no. We only just want to keep it the subject of Ma, but within that subject, which is infinite, anything people want to share. Like Chris shared a beautiful thing. Anybody else? Okay, well.
Wait, Lonnie has his hand up.
Good, Lonnie.
Jai Ma. Well, first of all, I'd actually like to thank Pragnya for your book, Volume 1 and 2. I just finished Volume 1. I'm about to start Volume 2. And Mangalananda, thank you for your book as well.
Good.
As far as when I first discovered Ma, I mean, I did read autobiography of a Yogi years ago, and so that's probably where I first heard of her. But then other books and places, she just kept popping up, just here and there. Like there's even a small little thing about her in the Idiot's Guide to Hinduism, just real small. And I don't know, just over the years, I've been like slowly becoming like more and more and more interested in her, and just attracted to her. I would have loved to have met her, in person. Maybe the best thing I can have is a satsang with all of these great people who have met her, and I wouldn't say I'm jealous of you. That's not quite the right word, but at the same time, like I said, I really would have loved to have met her in person. But yeah, I suppose that's it. Thank you so much for this group.
Oh, well, that's a beautiful sharing too. That brings to mind several things I want to say. First of all, you totally have Ma's grace, because, like we said at the beginning, it's impossible to think of Ma unless she first thinks of us. The fact that you have this attraction, that you've studied more, that more and more she keeps popping up, so to speak, coincidence. Then you've read books about her. Now you're thinking of her. This is only because you have Ma's grace. Only because it can only happen through Ma's grace. We can't stumble on her. She has to reveal herself. And she reveals herself to who she will, and she's revealing herself to you. That's wonderful. It's really wonderful. And secondly is, it is true that to be with her cannot be put into words. The magical time it was, and the incredible time it was a supernatural. It was a supernatural experience to be with her always. You could sit with her at night and sing, and you felt like every single person in the room. We would compare notes afterwards. Everyone felt like Ma was giving each of them all her attention. Grace was flowing. It was like when Krishna was dancing with the gopis in Ras Leela. Every gopi had the full Krishna. So Ma would give herself fully to every person. So that can't be captured again. But I know so many people. Look at you, look at Pragya, look at so many people who have the deep, deep relationship with Ma, who never saw her in person. But the thing is, this feeling you have, this so-called, whatever you have, jealousy, longing, admiration, that feeling itself can be nurtured and can bring you to the vision of Ma. By just thinking that, nurture that. Just saying, oh, I wish I'd seen Ma. I wish I was seeing Ma now. Have that in your heart. Let that be a bhav in your heart. I really want to see Ma. I really want to, it's nice reading about her, but I really want to see her. That very bhav can take you to the vision of Ma. Because the real vision of Ma wasn't with these eyes, And I said before about how there were times when Ma had so many different manifesting bhavs. She would be very much, in the middle of a festival, instructing everybody, instructing the cooks, saying a word to people, just interacting with people. Other times laughing and joking and being motherly. Other times she would be totally enjoying. We would sit with her and she would just be lost. And I said, what that bhav made us feel was, oh, I want to be with Ma where I really can see her. We would realize that she was somewhere 1,000,000 miles away from us, metaphorically speaking, life years away from us, because she was in this divine state and we were still here seeing her through these two eyes. And that made us feel like, I want to do my sadhana more. So I'm really with Ma. I'm really seeing Ma nonstop, day and night. So that's a bhav we can all have. Like, we can all mourn, oh, I don't see Ma in the body anymore. I just see a photo. Let's mourn about that. Let's work on that. Let's let that be an all-consuming drive. Ma said many times, the only way to realize God is to have an all-consuming desire. And people would say, I have too many desires. She would say, take all the desires and put it into one great desire, the desire for God. So that desire to see Ma, that's something to be nurtured. That's something that Ma said, God comes to us as a feeling of want and emptiness, so that we can want to have that filled. So Ma has come to you in this desire to see her. That's great. Work with that. That's a good another tool we have to work with. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you.
Good.
Jai
We're
Ma.
really happy you joined us. You are definitely like, family. That's really good you joined us. This is the right place for you. Right place for all of us.
Anandamayi, we have Nirmala with her hand up.
Oh, okay, Nirmala. Yeah.
I don't have a lot to say today. I'm kind of quiet, speaking of the silence that Shama spoke of and Arvita spoke of. But I will say, Acharya Ji, that when you said you'd rather look at her than look at me, and that is so not true. Because when I log on and you come on, you carry Ma with you. So immensely that I really feel there is a shift in, you're in California, I'm in Seattle, there is a shift in my environment and within me. So pranams to you, Jai Ma.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Nirmala. That's very sweet. And it's encouraging to me because I've been given this commission to be an acharya of our ashram, to spread my teachings in any way I can. And I'm called on to teach classes like we taught that class on Gayatri Mantra at the yoga farm recently. But before anything, before this satsang, before anything I teach, I try to just feel Ma in my heart and I say, Ma, I am nothing. I don't exist as a separate individual from you, but you are everything, and so I'm not separate from you. So you speak through this body. You speak. You inspire. You sing. And so I thank you. I appreciate it. I don't take that as an ego thing, that I'm so great. I'm not anything, but I take it that Ma is working through me. So that is reassuring to me. So thank you for those sweet words. So I can say I'm nothing, but Ma is everything. So good.
And I'd like to add to that your voice, it brings the sound of India to us. It's the voice of the ashram of Ma. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Anyway.
Yeah, I'd like to add that I'm really feeling today the refuge of satsang, of being with you all. I mean, here we all are in our different places. We're on the Zoom screen, but the last few days, sort of in our country, have been so tumultuous, and I noticed that the only time I feel like myself in the self are when I'm in satsang with you, either on Tuesday night when we're doing our satsang from here, but right now, just I can feel it in my body that Ma is just like her presence is so palpable, and I'm so grateful to have a break from samsara, from the world of change that is just painfully obvious most of the time. So I just want to thank Ma, first of all, for Zoom, as aggravating as it can be for those of us who are trying to use it. What a gift that we can all be in each other's presence. And I love hearing everyone sharing. It means so much to me. So I'm just so grateful for satsang. Thank you. Thank you. Jai Ma.
That is so true, Pragya. Zoom is a manifestation of Ma. She manifested as Zoom. There's a Zoom app. It's really true. It's really true. We should be so grateful that we are able to gather like this when we can't drive all these ways or fly all these ways and be together in person. That's really true. And satsang, it is so important a point. Ma emphasized satsang when she talked about the different parts of spiritual life. She said it was satsang, japa, puja, dhyan, kirtan. Was there a sixth one? I thought there was a sixth one. But so she said, it was doing your meditation, repeating the name of God, singing kirtan whenever possible. But she emphasized first, and she always said, keep satsang, meet with the, if you can find a saint. In India, it's not as hard. I've sat at the feet of many wonderful saints who I sought out in India. In the West, it's not so easy to find a saint. You can sit with a saint and just sit with them and absorb. But whenever we can have satsang with just meeting with like-minded devotees, like we're doing, reading scriptures, reading Ma's words, doing kirtan together, it's true. This is so crucially important. Yogananda once said, company is greater than willpower. And that can work both in a positive way and in a negative way. You know, if you have bad company, you're drawn down. Good company, you're lifted up. So yeah, this satsang is really, it's a crucial part of our lives. It really is more and more. It's not just a way to spend, you know, a couple hours on Sunday. It's really an important thing, and we should try to keep satsang whenever we can. So really, really, really happy we brought that up. Yeah, I think we all feel it's really good to be together. Yeah. So if there aren't any other sharing, we have time if anybody has anything else to say. Okay, Pragya, help me in this. Maybe you should just go ahead and say our whatever. Pragya is the president of our Samat, Sri Anandamayi Ma
Ashram
Ashram
and
and Temple. Yeah, and we've been trying, as you know, we had our first, since COVID, in-person meeting last September in upstate New York at the Shivananda Yoga Ranch, where we had 4 full days with our Swami Guru Sharananda from India, and I was teaching classes, he was teaching classes, and we were sharing and having satsang. It was just wonderful. We had a great time. And we've been trying to schedule that this year for months with so many difficulties. But Pragya, why don't you just update us to the most recent thing?
Many
It still may happen.
We had many obstacles, not the least of which is it was hard to find a venue for getting together and so forth. But in the meantime, you know, sort of the samsaric reality began to become very difficult in the US. And we decided this week as a board that we would not try to bring Swami Guru Sharan this fall because it just feels too risky. We've heard many cases of people coming from India on tourist visas, being detained for hours, being sent right back to India, having their visas revoked, etc. And Swamiji, bless his heart, has kept saying, I will come, Ma will take care of us, everything will be all right. But we finally came to a decision that it's not a good year to do this with, as we know, every day a new political unfolding, and they're not so good. And so I spoke to him this morning, and just to give you the scene, we had a very short talk because it was the beginning of monsoon. As we got on, so we can see each other, right? And he's like, Pragya, monsoon is starting right now, and you see this pouring rain behind, and you hear it on the tin roof. And so I'm sort of trying to say to him, the board met yesterday. We're so grateful that you wanted to try to come anyway, but we're feeling it's just too risky for you, for our organization, and so forth. And so he says, okay, we'll have to talk later. I can't hear you because the rains have finally come to cool everything off. So it was kind of a delightful and short phone call. But what I was
for those of you, just to give a little cultural input here, like I lived in India for years. April, May, June is summer in India, and it's like blistering hot. I'm talking about like where we were, it's like 120 degrees, and the earth is parched, and people are waiting and waiting for the monsoon rains. And throughout India, when the first monsoon rains comes, everybody in the countryside, in the city, everybody goes out and dances in the rain, literally. So that was the wonderful point that Sprague got to witness.
This is kind of auspicious, really. And so I did send him an email afterward with the rest of our meeting, which was to say that we really want to get together as a Sangha this fall. And we're considering possibly, maybe we'll have a Sanyam Saptaha at Yogaville in Virginia. David and Linda. And Lonnie, who doesn't live that far, but all of us could get down there somehow to this beautiful ashram. So that's one possibility. We're still looking here, but Mangalanandaji will come. he and I will lead the satsang, the sanyam, with the help of Brahmani, with the help of Saraswati, etc. And we'll have our chance to be together, and we'll probably somehow pipe in Swami Guru Sharan. In the meantime, we're going to work on, a religious visa for him called an R1, because he is our presiding Swami, and we're a church as a 501c3. So to see if we can't get him the proper visa that can not be challenged.
Yeah, I tried to get him that when I was living in India. He and I were touring. He was running the school, so I said, I'll take care of your visa. So we took one boy with us always in the school who played the drum and helped us. And I tried to get him that R1, and at that time, it was hard to get an American visa, and it got rejected for some stupid reason. But now that he's had a U.S. visa, I think we can get him that much more easily and bring him.
So the bottom line is, for all of our sake, we do hope to join together in October as a Sangha, and we'll keep you posted on the whereabouts of that. But we're moving forward with the idea of being together, and hoping that things calm down here in America so that Swamiji can come the following year.
Yeah, thank you, Pragya. And we are looking at the same dates. We had either Columbus Day weekend.
Columbus Day weekend, yeah.
Or the weekend after. And it's kind of resting right now with Yogaville. So Yogaville, I get invited I have this great kirtan band. So people invite me to different places to do kirtan. Shivananda, Bahamas, good gig, different places. And they're inviting me to Yogaville. Last time I taught a 4-day class on Bhakti Yoga according to Ma, and did kirtan. And they wanted me back this year. And because of our trying to arrange the Samyan Sapta, I declined because I was working with Swamiji and getting the thing done in person. But now I wrote them back and said, look, can we just go ahead and have our Samyan there? And they were very enthusiastic about the idea. So we're working with arrangements there, and Pragya is working on another site near Boston. So between these two, we hope we'll have our place down. And sorry it's so late. Usually we try to get this a year ahead of time, but we had so many obstacles. Pragya's been working on this for months, looking for places, and so it's in the final stages of discussion, though. So we'll let you know hopefully next month, and hopefully people can make plans to join us in person again, and we'll have a great time together. Okay, well, thank you all for joining us. It's been a joy as always. We're here every third Sunday. Look at our Anandamayi Ashram, AnandamayiMaAshram.com, AnandamayiMaAshram.com, to see the full schedule of Pragya's events. You can tune into both in person and live, and keep having satsang together. That's the important thing. We are a community. We're here only because we've all been called by Ma's grace. So let's stick together and hang in there and do our sadhana. Okay. Thank you all. If you want to unmute and say goodbye, we could all say goodbye and see you next month, hopefully.
Thank you, Jai Ma.
Jai Ma, everyone.
Jai Ma.
Jai Ma.
Jai Ma. Thank you.
So good to see everybody.
See you soon.
Hey.
Acharya Ji, are you going back to the Bahamas?
They for the past, I think, 4 or 5 years, they've asked us to come and do the New Year's Eve program, the kirtan, and teach classes then.
Mm-hmm.
And this year they didn't. And I thought, oh my God, we're getting kicked out. And they got somebody else, but they've asked us, so we're not going in 2025 again.
Mm-hmm.
But they've already booked us. We've already had a contract with them for July of 2026. So I won't be going back until next July, year from now.
Okay.
But I will be back then, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, good to see everybody. Thank you for your sharing too.
Take care, everyone.
Jai Ma.
Jai Ma.